What's up? My name is Kamal, and today I'm going to be changing the transmission fluid on my 2004 Nissan 350Z. The fluid I'm using is Redline. It says MT90 on the bottle, but if you turn it around, it'll tell you that it's 75W90 GL4 fluid. The OEM fluid is actually 75W85. So this is just, the higher the number, I guess the thicker the fluid is. This is just barely thicker. I don't really have any issues like some people might, especially with the 03, 04 models, with the older CD. I guess it wouldn't be the CD009. I think it's like CD00 or CD01 or something like that. They're just known for the synchronizers starting to go a little bad and have a little rougher shifts. Mine actually shifts really well. I guess it all depends on how well and how much you take care of it, how you drive the vehicle as well. But this Redline fluid, people highly recommend it for just smoothing out the gear shifts. So yeah, it takes about 3 quarts, so that's what we have here. And then also, just got this at Harbor Freight. It's just a gear oil pump, which we need to get the new fluid into the transmission. First thing I did was just get the vehicle up on jack stands. The other thing about getting it on jack stands is it's important not to just do the front or the rear. I'd get it up on 4 jack stands because it is important to have the vehicle level when filling the transmission, because the way you know it's full is fluid starts coming out of the fill plug hole. And if it's leaning forward or backwards, the fill plug I think is kind of towards the rear. So if it's leaning backwards, I guess you would think it's full before it is. And if the car is tilted forwards, you would overfill it. So yeah, it's just important to have it level. Just put it on 4 jack stands all on the same notch or whatever. So when we come under the vehicle here, here would be the drain plug right here, and then there's the fill plug on the side right there. They are a Allen or hex socket, size 10. We're gonna remove this. I guess you could crack this too. It might help it drain out of here a little bit easier. The fill plug was a little more difficult to break loose than the drain, but I guess I'm kind of back here to kind of reaching forward, but it wasn't too bad. One other thing I did want to mention though, with the drain and fill plug, there is this small washer on here, and I do have some replacements. Depending on what you read, some people will say to actually replace the whole plug. But as you can see, it's steel and not aluminum, so in my opinion, you can be fine with just replacing the O-ring. Because really, the aluminum plugs are the ones you need to replace, because the edges of where the hex socket goes, you'll start to see them wear down and start stripping, but with steel, that doesn't really happen. It's with the aluminums you gotta worry about. Here are the replacement little crush washer gasket things. That's the part number for them as well. I just got these from my local Nissan dealer. They were pretty cheap, but I think you can also order them from Z1 Motorsports. I'm pretty sure they have these as well. So it's not a bad idea to just get some of these, because you can see this thing does get kind of squished. I mean, it might be hard to tell on camera, but I can tell that this one isn't crushed versus this one, which already is crushed down. So yeah, if you want to make sure you don't have any leaks, get some of these little gaskets. So I let this drain till it wasn't really dripping anymore, and I put my drain plug back in here. I guess you could just snug it down, but I'm gonna torque it to the spec, which if you're doing Newton meters is 30 to 39 Newton meters. If you're doing foot pounds, it's 23 to 28 foot pounds. Alright, so I'll probably just clean it up with some brake clean. But now that we've drained it and torqued the drain plug, I also removed the fill plug like I showed earlier, and now we'll just fill the fluid in over here with that pump. So this pump thing, it does have, I guess it could thread onto certain bottles, but not this one. So we just have this little tube that we stick in the end of it. Just gonna stick this down into the bottle. And then these little things on here are actually meant to, like when we put it up there, it'll hold this end in for us in a way. That's what those little tabs are for. This, we'll see how far down this reaches. So this Harbor Freight pump actually works really well. The only thing is that the tube only goes down like just about halfway here. So what I did was just took this one bottle over to my toolbox and cut the neck off with a razor blade. So that way I can get the rest of the fluid in this bottle. And then, so once I empty this bottle, I can just pour the fluid from the other two bottles into here, so that we can get all of it. So yeah, as you guys can see, when it does get full, it should start kind of dribbling out the side like that, and then you can put the plug in. I mean, I guess you could wait till it's literally just dripping, but get the plug in now, and I'm gonna torque this one down. Alright, just torqued the fill plug and all done down here. I'm just gonna spray some brake clean because there's a little bit of fluid on the transmission. So that last bit when you saw it was coming out of the fill plug, which lets you know it's full, I actually had to use a different bottle to have that happen. So like I was saying, it should be 3 quarts, but I guess it's like literally just the right amount, because when I brought this over here to cut the neck off, I think what happened was a lot of the gear oil kind of just drained back out of this line in the pump. Yeah, after I filled both the other 2 bottles in here and pumped all of it, it still wasn't draining out, but luckily I had another bottle. Just slightly different fluid, but same GLI-4 manual transmission fluid, just not the 75W90. So just a couple pumps of that, and then it did start coming out of the fill plug. So just thought I'd let y'all know that in case you do get the 3 bottles like I did and you're pumping it up into the transmission, you run out of all 3 bottles and it's not flowing out. you'd probably be all right. It probably is full enough, but if you're like me, you're probably just gonna wanna have that confirmation that it is filled all the way to where that fill plug is. So I know it's a pain to buy that 4th bottle because I barely used any of it to finally get it to start doing that, but just thought I'd let you guys know that happened to me. So last thing to do is, yeah, I'm gonna just spray some brake clean up under there, and then we'll give it a drive and see if it feels a little bit different with the shifts. So we've been driving the car around, and the shifts honestly feel kind of the same as they did, because I didn't really have a problem with my synchronizers before. The one thing I did look up in the 350Z manual is that the actual capacity of the transmission is 3 1/4 US quarts. And as y'all saw, I only had 3 quarts, so it wasn't really an issue with the fluid being in the pump or being lost from changing the bottles and stuff. You actually do need that 1/4 of a quart more to fill the transmission up enough to get it to flow out of the fill hole. So unfortunately you do need 4 bottles, and you'll just have a bottle that you only use that little bit if you want to get it all the way full. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.